Hey guys, it's Martin again with a brand new We're Still Here. And I'm not going to apologize for not having done a new We're Still Here in a while, just because I've done that every time for like the last 3 or 4 times at least. So, no, we're not doing that this time because you probably expect it by now. But I will say that I should hope that you won't have to expect that ever again, because I'm focusing on definitely doing them every week from now on. And if I don't do one every week, I want you to promise me that you'll do something. I want you to tweet at me or write me a message or Facebook message me if you have me on there, and tell me, Martin, you big spanner, pull the new We're Still Here out from your bottom and give it to us. And if you phrase it exactly like that, then I won't take offense. Not that I would take offense to that. It's such a silly insult. Not even an insult, just a silly demand. But I will not take offense. And I'll be like, oh yeah, that you're complaining out of love. And so it'll be okay. And then I'll do the video and upload it and all that jazz. But yeah, late this time again. But not from now on. It's been a very stressful few weeks just because there's been a lot going on. We have a new roommate, which is our friend Caitlin. You might have seen her. You might even hear her right now. She's in the other room. But she's an old friend of ours from the convention circuit, and she's moved out to LA, and so now we're living together. I was going to say in sin, but that would imply all kinds of bad things. But we are sinning by being slothful and lazy, if that counts. I believe it does. If the movie Seven taught me anything, it's that sloth is a sin, and also Gwyneth Paltrow's head fits neatly in a box. And there is a delivery service that will ship it wherever you want, even if it's the middle of the desert. Speaking of things that fit neatly into things, you may notice that this video, unlike many of the other We're Still Here videos, only has one subtitle. It just says Dead Men Tell No Tales, or it should if I remember to call it that. But the reason for that is, and you may also notice that my voice is a little out of it. It's because I just got injected with my Remicade medicine 2 days ago, I believe. 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. It's a blur at the moment, but that usually takes it out of me. My voice gets kind of croaky, which is going to be fun because I'm aiming to record for the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged tomorrow, and film some other stuff. But the mostly it makes me feel very exhausted and weak, and I can't get much done afterwards. Although I say that, and I did a lot of chores yesterday, which it took the wind out of me, but I was able to do it. Work for 4 or 5 straight hours, I believe it was, which is for me after taking my medicine has been unheard of until yesterday. So that's pretty exciting. But the reason for just having the one category is rather than have something that's positive and something that's negative, two separate things, I thought maybe I'd do something, especially since it's appropriate for the timing. I'd do something that is both positive and negative for me. This is something that was negative that became positive because of my actions over the last year, so it's pretty significant for me. I guess the best place to start would be at the beginning, which I've technically talked about already on this series, but it's been substantially long enough that I think it warrants returning to it. The moment I knew I'd kind of hit rock bottom in as far as my depression goes was at bloody Disneyland, of all places. The happiest place. Actually, I think Disney World is the happiest place on Earth. I don't know if Disneyland technically is called that, but you're certainly supposed to be a happy camper when you go and you ride all the rides and you meet all the cartoon characters. And honestly, usually being there with Mariana is enough to put me in a great mood for weeks, just because it's great to watch her enjoying herself and enjoy myself with her. But you know, it's a place where Mariana has more fun than I think she does anywhere else. So that's really great. But there was this one time late last year, I think, or early this year. Probably no, late. It was late last year because I remember it was before I did a certain convention, which is how there's the milestones of my life is now just, what convention was I at? But it was before I went to this one Florida convention, and I was at Disneyland with a bunch of friends, and not long into the trip, I realized I wasn't having a good time at all. In fact, I wasn't really feeling anything about anything. I just wanted to leave. I didn't want to be there at all. I wanted to die, which is never fun to admit. There are lots of moments where you're like, you say it flippantly, where you're like, oh, I want to die. But, this was one of the instances, of which there were unfortunately many, where I was like, I'd rather be dead than be at bloody Disneyland, which is really sad to admit. I was going around Disneyland, and there was, if you've been to Disney or any theme park in the the peak time of year, it's surrounded by people who are also having a great time. And when you're depressed, that's always a fun reminder. Not that they're doing it to spite you or anything. It adds to the disappointment in yourself that you feel, and all the positive feelings that should be positive turn very negative. And that's just depression in general. It's a mood dehancer, I suppose, rather than an enhancer. I'd say it was about halfway through our visit to Disney, we rode Pirates of the Caribbean, which has always been one of my favorites, both world and land, just because it's a nice break. It's not too rough. It's exciting enough looking at the stuff going on, and even if you've been through before, it's just a nice, relaxing little trip. Aside from the parts where they throw you down the flume, but those aren't so intense as Splash Mountain, which is my favorite ride, by the way, which I refused to go on, I believe, that day because I didn't want to I think I would have felt even worse if I'd gone on Splash Mountain and I had a bad time. But yeah, I was on Pirates, and I was going around, and I was like, crying. I was just crying the whole time, and I felt very suicidal the whole time, and that was kind of, that's one of these memories I have, and I've talked about them in the first episode of We're Still Here. I talked about meeting Team 4-Star and their effect on me, and that was one of those memories that I have a perfect recollection of, that I can revisit every time, and that's a very positive memory. But this is sort of the polar opposite of that. It's a negative memory that I can visit whenever I want to, and I very rarely want to, but sometimes I do regardless. I was at rock bottom. That I was at the lowest point that I'd been up until that point. And it was just the worst. I don't know how else to describe it. It's not like I was like throwing a fit. It's not like I was being like, this is awful. It's not like I was, crying out loud. I was just, tears were just coming out, and I was sat there not reacting to anything and just staring. And it's very strange to be talking about it and thinking about it, being so far removed from that mindset, and I don't know. I'm proud of myself. I am proud of myself for not being that person right now, but it's scary to think that I could be that person. It's not been that long ago. It was a year, and it makes a big difference, a year, but it's also scary how close that is to the person I am right now. I remember hearing, everyone knows the phrase, it's in the Pirates movies and it's in The Bride, obviously, but the phrase is, I don't know if it's something that Disney coined, I highly doubt it, but the phrase is, dead men tell no tales, and it's said a couple of times during the ride, and that just sort of stuck with me after that experience. It's a line that obviously suggests, I assume that the implication for Pirates of the Caribbean in particular is that if you kill, if I kill you, you won't live to tell about it. It sort of took on a new meaning in my mind. It was like, because I I call myself a creative type, and I am. I mean, I'm known for writing these stupid comedy videos, and obviously I make videos, and that's it. You know, I create things, but I'm not exactly, you know, I'm not like a fully fledged writer or anything. But I'm a creative type, so the phrase, you know, "dead men tell no tales," in the context of my situation, it meant a lot more to me than what, you know, the catchphrase by itself means. And I took it to heart, and I basically said, you know what, if I were to die, and this was not like immediate. This was not something that I thought of immediately during the ride. This is not something that I even thought about the next day. It was just something that stuck with me, and I thought about for months afterwards, and I still do. But the phrase basically meant, or became, something that was strength in me. It was it basically was some way of looking at these words and knowing that to me they now meant, if you die, you can't tell these stories that you want to tell, or make the people you want to make laugh, or just your life, the story of your life and being alive, and the effect that you'll have, positive or negative, just will not happen. You know, and there's a lot of pages left to fill that you just can't, you don't have the even the chance to do that if you die. And, you know, it's easy to look at that as a negative, or it's easy to look at that and be like, well, one day you're going to die and that's the end of it. But yeah, that's true. But you don't have to help that. You don't have to speed that along. And I definitely wanted to do that for a long time in my life. So I just kept that phrase in the back of my mind, and I told Mariana, I think a few months later, you know, I said, if I'm still alive this time next year, I want to get a tattoo that says "Dead men tell no tales." And she looked at me and was like, well, first of all, the thing she said was "if," because that's not a good thing to hear from somebody. You know, even if you know they're going through something, you don't want to hear that. So she got a bit upset at me for that. Oh, she got upset because of that. She didn't get upset at me. And then we just both agreed, you know, that's a good idea. And a few weeks back, I actually got the tattoo. I've got it on my arm. It was originally just going to be boring, just text, like a quote. But I saw a few designs that they had, and I thought, you know, we could get a bit creative with it, at least do something interesting with it. And the tattoo artist, Emily, which is one of my favorite names, by the way. I want to Emily. I like that name. I don't know why. But I got it tattooed on me, and this is what it looks like. I don't know how well you can see that. I hope you can see it okay. But yeah, that's on me now. And you know, I didn't put it on me just to be like, you know, now I can look at it and remind myself. I didn't just do that, but I put it on me almost as like, because tattoos are basically wounds, you know, and you get to sit and watch them heal, you know, over time, and it takes a while, and, you know, and it's painful, but it's a good kind of pain, because it's, at least in this case, and for my other tattoo, the one of Spaghetti's paw, and for a lot of people I know, the pain they feel almost feels like, you know, it's actualizing something that's a painful memory onto you physically, and it makes it easier to handle or to remember or to cope with it. And I personally never thought about having a tattoo until I met Mariana, I suppose. I'd be lying if I said it was after that. But I never seriously contemplated it until these significantly negative events happened in my life. But thanks to having them as tattoos, I've been able to look at them and not be and not feel the pain quite as strongly as I did. Because now it's part of me, you know, and that's it's not the worst thing in the world to acknowledge it from time to time. Like, these are memories, are part of me, and awful as they are, they've made me become this, you know? And I am a better person for the pain that I've lived through. And I haven't even lived through pain that is half as, you know, unbearable as a lot of other people go through in their lives, but the pain is just as important to me as the joy and the pleasure, I suppose, which is the opposite of pain, that is definitely in my future and has definitely been in my past, and you know, they're both always going to be there, but that doesn't mean that one supersedes the other, I guess, is what I'm saying. I don't know. I got tattoos. That's the point. I've got tattoos. And I've got good memories, as well as bad ones. Well, that's we're still here for this week. I'm recording this ahead of time because in the next few days I'm flying to England for Alcon in Leicester, which I didn't know if I was going to be able to do for a long time, but I'm very excited to go back. It's I mean, emotionally, it's a very important convention to me, and I get to see a lot of my old British friends, and I get to see my best friend, which is X the Dark One, who I don't think I've done a We're Still Here about him being a positive part of my life, and I need to do that. If I have done it, I apologize for forgetting about that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'm looking forward to seeing my family, who I need to email about when I'm getting in to England. And I'm looking forward to trying to see if I can deal with the amount of panels and the travel and everything, considering I just had my Remicade. But I think it'll be okay. I think I'll power through, and if anything's too stressful, I'll just take it easy a little bit. But I'm looking forward to seeing you if you're going to be there. And aside from that, I hope you're doing okay. And you'll see me next week. I promise.